Good evening. It's Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. I'm OG Nerd, and this is the OG Nerd News Update. Here's what you need to know this evening. For 21 plus days straight, thousands of people have taken to the streets in Albania, a small country on the Adriatic coast of Europe. They are carrying pink flamingo cutouts and they are chanting Albania is not for sale. And the reason they are in the streets is Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law and founder of the investment firm Affinity Partners, is behind plans to build a massive luxury resort on a protected stretch of Albania's Adriatic coastline. The project has ignited what protesters are now calling the Flamingo Revolution, a movement that started as an environmental protest and has exploded into a full-scale anti-corruption uprising demanding the resignation of Albania's prime minister. Here's why this matters. The planned development sits inside the protected wildlife area in one of Albania's most valuable biodiversity areas, a key stopover for migratory birds along the Adriatic coast, including the Mediterranean monk seals, the loggerhead sea turtles, Dalmatian pelicans, and yes, flamingos that have become the symbol of this uprising. The resort project has two components: a massive coastal development in the Narda Lagoon area and a luxury resort on the nearby island of Sazan, a former communist-era Soviet military base where Soviet-era gas masks are still littered across the ground today. The full plan includes 800 guest rooms and suites, luxury villas, a golf course, a casino, water park, and private townhouses, all inside what was, until recently, a legally protected nature reserve. How did a protected nature reserve suddenly become available for a luxury resort? That's exactly the question Albanian protesters are demanding answers to. In 2024, Albania's parliament quietly passed a new law that stripped away the area's protected status, removing the ban on construction in protected areas entirely. Critics say the whole picture is now clear: a new airport under construction nearby, the protected Zazan military island in the lagoon, all of it, they say, was quietly arranged for years in advance and promised to Kushner company and joint investors. The country's independent anti-corruption body, known as SPAC, has now launched a formal investigation into the project, including into those controversial 2024 legislative changes that altered the area's protected status and how ownership of the land was obtained. Meanwhile, Ivanka Trump described how she and Kushner found the site in an interview with an American podcaster this month. She said, quote, "We were on a friend's boat and we stopped for a swim. Effectively, that's how we found it. We swam to the island and we went on a hike, barefoot all the way up to the top, and we were just captivated." She and Kushner were captivated. Tens of thousands of Albanians are furious, and the leading conservation group in Albania, Protection and Preservation of the Natural Environment, told CBS News, quote, "There was no public consultation whatsoever. Just one day, we saw bulldozers entering outside, opening up roads, cutting trees, destroying the dunes. The public knew nothing. They have documented the destruction of at least one sea turtle nest in the area by these bulldozers. The bigger picture? The protests, which began as environmental demonstrations, have rapidly grown into something much larger. Protesters are now chanting for Prime Minister Edi Rama to resign. Members of the Albanian diaspora from across Europe and the world have been traveling home to join the marches. The slogan, "Albania is not for sale," has been projected in giant letters onto the facade of the Prime Minister's office itself. The story has a cautionary parallel. A similar Kushner-linked luxury development in Serbia, where parliamentary passed a special law to enable the building of a luxury complex in the capital, Belgrade, also triggered massive public protests. Serbia ultimately stepped back from that project under public pressure. For our working families across this country and around the world, this story is about something very similar. It is about what happens when powerful, well-connected people look at land that belongs to a community, to nature, to future generations, and see only a business opportunity. It's about what happens when laws get quietly rewritten in the middle of the night to make the impossible suddenly possible. And it's what happens when ordinary people decide enough. Here's my take. I want you to notice something about this story, something that gets lost when we talk about it purely as an environmental issue or a corruption issue. Ivanka Trump described finding this land from a friend's boat. She swam to it. She hiked it barefoot. She was captivated. And then over the years that followed, the laws protecting it were changed. The land's ownership was transferred, and $4.6 billion development was approved. All while her father-in-law, Jared Kushner's father, happened to be President of the United States. I'm not going to call that a coincidence, and I don't think you should either. That is what corruption actually looks like in the real world. It doesn't always look like a briefcase of cash. Sometimes it looks like a boat trip, a barefoot hike, a law quietly changed in a foreign parliament, a protected nature reserve suddenly open for business, a flamingo nesting ground turned into a casino. The Albanian people are in the streets every single night for 21 days and counting, because they understand what is at stake: their wildlife, their sovereignty, their right to say who gets to profit from their land and their nature. Albania is not for sale. I think that's a message the whole world needs to hear right now. That's where I stand. That's your news this evening on OG Nerd News. Follow us for daily coverage. I'm OG Nerd. Stay informed, stay sharp, and today, stand with the penguins. I'll see you next time. Join us for the conversation on OG Nerd News After Dark on TikTok at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. I'll see you there.